Have you ever wondered if there's a simple, timeless blueprint for building wealth? Well, today we're digging into an absolute classic on personal finance, The Richest Man in Babylon, to uncover its 8,000-year-old secrets and turn them into a clear, actionable plan you can start using today.
So, what does that actually mean? This is the core promise of the entire book. It's saying that getting wealthy isn't some big mystery. It's not about being lucky or some kind of genius. It's just about mastering a few simple rules that have worked for, well, thousands of years. And that's the big question, right? You're probably thinking, how can stories about chariot builders in ancient Babylon possibly apply to our world of online banking and cryptocurrency? Well, as we're about to see, the core principles are, believe it or not, more relevant than ever. Okay, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll cover the fundamental mindset you absolutely need. Second, the practical step-by-step system for building your wealth. And finally, we'll get into the long-term strategies for protecting and growing it. So, let's jump right into the mindset. First up, the psychology. Because look, before any system or strategy can work, you've got to make a huge mental shift. It's all about changing your relationship with money, from just being an earner to becoming an owner. This one sentence right here, this is the big aha moment in the book. Now, I know it sounds super obvious, but it's actually a pretty revolutionary idea. See, most of us think everything we earn is ours to spend. But the book says, no, wait a second. Most of what you earn, you're just giving away to your landlord, to the grocery store, to the phone company. The path to wealth only starts when you decide to pay yourself first. And here's what those two mindsets look like side by side. For the earner, money is just a tool for spending. You work, you get paid, you spend it. Simple. But for the owner, money is a tool for building. A part of their income becomes like an employee, a golden slave, that goes out and works to make them even more money. And this brings us to the book's first and maybe most important rule. 1/10 of everything you earn is yours to keep, at least. And let's be clear, this isn't about saving whatever's left at the end of the month. No way. This is about paying yourself first, right off the top, before anyone else gets a single dime. You know, the book uses the city of Babylon itself as this incredible metaphor. Historically, Babylon wasn't lucky. It didn't have gold mines or lush forests. It was stuck in a dry, flat valley. So where did all its legendary wealth come from? One thing: human ingenuity. They literally engineered their wealth by building massive irrigation systems that turned a desert into the most fertile land around. And that is the big insight here. Just like that city engineered its riches from nothing, you can engineer your own personal wealth. It's not about getting lucky. It's not about who your parents are. It's about applying the right principles day in and day out. It seriously doesn't matter where you're starting from. The system is what counts. So now that we've got the mindset locked in, let's get into the nuts and bolts. Let's look at the system. The book calls it The Cures for a Lean Purse, and it's basically a simple, powerful engine for turning your savings into a real fortune. It's a really simple 3-part system. Step 1, which we've already covered, is fatten my purse. Pay yourself first. Step 2 is control the expenses, which means creating a budget so you can actually live on the other 90%. And then step 3, well, this is where the magic really starts to happen. Make thy gold multiply. But making your money multiply isn't as simple as just throwing it at any shiny opportunity. And the book gives us a great cautionary tale here. Arkad, the hero of our story, after saving up for a whole year, gives all his money to a brickmaker who promises to go buy rare jewels. The result? Total disaster. The brickmaker gets tricked, buys worthless glass, and Arkad loses everything. And this is the harsh lesson Arkad learns. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? You wouldn't ask your baker for advice on astronomy, so why on earth would you take advice about jewels from a brickmaker? The principle is simple and timeless. Seek advice only from people with proven expertise in that specific field. And this really deepens what controlling your expenses means. It's not just about skipping a fancy coffee. It's about being the tough gatekeeper of your own money. A budget forces you to think clearly about your needs versus your wants, and it acts like a firewall against bad impulsive decisions, like giving your life savings to the wrong person. And if you want to see the raw power of that third cure, make thy gold multiply, just look at this. There's a story in the book about a farmer who invests just 10 pieces of silver. Over 50 years, thanks to the power of compounding, it grows to almost 170 pieces. That's a nearly 17 times increase without him ever adding another coin. That's the power of putting your money to work. Okay, this brings us to our final section. Once you've got the mindset and the system down, you have to learn how to play the long game. This is about the advanced stuff, protecting your wealth and, maybe most importantly, conquering the enemies inside your own head.
The book uses gambling as a perfect example of what to avoid. Think about it. At a casino, the odds are always, always stacked in favor of the house. The whole system is designed for the player to lose over time. The lesson? Avoid any investment that's structured like a gamble, where the odds are fundamentally against you from the get-go.
But, the biggest enemy isn't always a bad investment. Sometimes it's you. The book tells this story about a merchant who gets an amazing opportunity to invest in some land, but he hesitates. He wants to buy some fancy new robes first. And while he's delaying, the opportunity is gone. And someone else, someone who acted decisively, made a fortune.
This is where the book just completely flips the script on good luck. It says luck isn't some random thing that happens to you. No, luck is what happens when your years of preparation, all that saving, all that learning, finally crash into a genuine opportunity. And the one thing that will kill that opportunity every single time? Procrastination.
And the lesson couldn't be clearer. The so-called goddess of good luck doesn't visit people who sit around and wait. She favors people of action. Once you've done your homework and an opportunity feels right, you have to act. Procrastination, as the book says, is the thief of fortune. So let's wrap this all up. What we've seen is that these ancient stories aren't just quaint little fables. They actually form a complete, timeless, and frankly, a surprisingly simple blueprint for building real financial freedom. So here's your game plan right now. First, automate that 10% savings. Make it happen without you even thinking about it. Second, create a simple budget. Third, start learning about sound, long-term ways to invest. Fourth, be ruthless about who you take financial advice from. And finally, practice taking action. Conquer that urge to delay. Ultimately, the book leaves us with this really powerful image. Your wealth is like a giant tree. But every tree, no matter how huge, starts from a single tiny seed. All the knowledge in the world doesn't mean a thing without that first small act of planting it. So the only question left is, when are you going to plant yours?